Awful, man. So you've gotten yourself into a little bit of a pickle, a little tussle on X. I know you don't give two shits about it, but I don't know. People were like, "Oh, Awful got lambasted by Brandon Thurston," and a topic we talk about quite a bit on PWT Live Show and Podcast is like the TV ratings for AEW and this TV deal that's imminent, and it's not looking too great for them right now, or at least in comparison to what Dose has been saying, which if you compare it to what Meltzer says, is basically like they're saying the same shit. Meltzer's just saying it all this time later now because he's forced to admit it, but it seems like Tony Khan wants to sell the package deal. He wants the pay-per-view and all the TV shows and all the Ring of Honor and the tape library, and he's valuing all that, blah, 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 blah. And the TV ratings are something that often get brought up. Well, look, they're not that great. I've always said AEW's got about 800,000 who will tune in regularly throughout the week. So they're not going to show up for every show live, but they'll be there. If you got to add Collision with Dynamite or whatever, you got about 800,000 who are going to tap in every week, and check it out, who watch TV. There's a lot who pirate and stream it.
And that's if all of them watch. That's if everybody watches.
Exactly.
I'm saying 850 at the max.
Right. And so if you scale that up, though, again, if you want to compare it, WWE, well, more people illegally stream WWE than illegally stream AEW. But Awful's on Twitter and Brandon Thurston, and we bring this up, and Andrew Zarian and Dose, and how Dose got into it with Zarian and Thurston, but I think Thurston has Dose blocked, actually. So look out, Awful. You might get the same treatment. But what happened was basically you took a screenshot and shared, I'm sure, a tweet that you saw from someone else. I'm sure, like, everybody shares these. I've never even seen Thurston come out and say this to anybody, but you shared this screen grab of Dynamite's ratings, and I want to break down these ratings with you folks. But first, let's get into, because it's actually quite interesting when you break them down. So we're gonna steal Cornette's bit here, but Awful. Do you want to read this, or do you want me to read this in your voice, or what?
I do want to say publicly.
Yeah.
I do. See if you can pull that one off, Phil.
See if you can pull that one off, Phil. See if you can pull that one off, Phil. I'll get it. Don't worry, you motherfucker. You challenge me, I'll get it.
Listen, I do want to make mention to everybody listening, for the future reference, that third bullet point I have no definitive proof for. That one was given to me about the Modern Family on TBS. So this is breaking news, everybody. That third bullet point may not be correct. I can prove the first one privately, and I can prove the second one, but I cannot prove the third one definitively. But anyway, yes, it says the Big Bang Theory garnered 982,000 viewers with a 0.31 rating among adults 1849. When Dynamite aired, almost 250 said, "F this." AEW's competition, aside from the NHL game, was BET's Sisters that aired at 9 p.m. and got 877,000
Sisters, viewers. Is that like Sister, or what is that?
It's a Tyler Perry. It's a Tyler Perry show.
Okay.
So yeah. And 1.17 in the 18 to 49 demo, and it placed third in cable. And that's true. Now, the third one I'll read, but I can't confirm it. After Dynamite, Modern Family on TBS drew 781,000 viewers with a 0.25 in the key 1849 demographic, the exact same number as AEW. But I do want to say, while that number may not be accurate, it's curious to me that Modern Family did come on after Dynamite, and the number actually did go up. Now, I don't know if that drops immediately after, Modern Family comes on, but I've been told, some people haven't shown me any proof, but I've been told that it ranged within like the 200,000 to 300,000 area. And I'm like, well, I can't really see my screen, but yet, like, how did an additional 80,000 people come at the very tail end of Dynamite? You know what I mean? Like, where did they go?
Yeah, and to that too, people talk about like lead-ins, like, bro, do you see what comes on after and before, like, Raw and shit? It's trash. I like that. So what were you saying is false about the Modern Family part, though? Sorry, that's completely.
I don't have that. That number came to me by rumor when I asked for verification.
Okay.
When I asked for verification. Yeah, it can't be verified.
Right. Okay. So it's here. It doesn't even matter almost. That's almost like
Right.
a moot point right there
Right.
anyways, but it does add to your argument, but doesn't take away if it's not true either. But either way though, we have the ratings. I want to break them down with you guys, but then Thurston comes under and goes,
This motherfucker.
At Brandon Thurston goes, "Hi. I've asked you to not post these images before. Discussing the data, republishing the numbers, making your own chart is fine. Please don't share our image that we create for subscribers. We share them publicly after 7 days. This is the message on every quarter-hour report."
Except the one that I've got shared.
So where did you get yours from? Like I've never seen this ever, and I didn't know that these were for subscribers, and he releases them 7 days later. And I follow Brandon Thurston, but I didn't realize this, and because I see people post these all the time, and it's the ones that everyone shares around. So you responded brilliantly, in all honesty, and we're gonna get to that. But let's read this here. So just to give him his fair due, there's a disclaimer here. If you rely on this report and any subsequent reports or social media posts, please credit WrestleNomics. Please don't republish the chart images themselves. Okay. I mean, like, all right. Okay. Okay, Brandon, right? Like, shut him out. I don't hate Brandon Thurston whatsoever, but I'm not hating on him ever. You know,
Brandon, bro, you could have DM'd me all that shit. Like, he
yeah,
tried.
just like, bro,
somebody actually DM'd me. He was just like, oh, he's looking for like new people to get within his range, because things aren't looking so hot on his fucking impressions and engagements. I don't know if that's true or not. Damn. But it does let me. I mean, as you can see, he got a pretty good engagement out of that.
Yeah, man. You see it too. You see it a lot, that you see the people shifting the way they do content. You see these other little channels popping up and stuff, and yeah, man, it's an interesting time for sure for this whole. It's just funny that, I don't know, shout out Paul Nolan, but reporting on wrestling is just an oxymoron in general. So even breaking down the numbers, like it's silly, it's goddamn wrestling. But ultimately, at the end of the day,
last week, Phil.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, dude. I was gonna say mine and yours clips, dude. I told everyone earlier in the show, like, they do great, man. Me and you, awful. Like, they just do great. I don't know what it is. People like hearing me and you go back and forth, and you calling me redacted and shit. People love that, man. I love it too. It's great. Makes for a great show. Anyways, though, so you respond to Brandon Thurston. You were just gonna take that, and we'll let you elaborate a little bit more. Okay, you read this here. Read your response to
all right. Let's discuss this publicly, since DMing me to discuss it is too much. I post the chart because it's shown to me. What I get doesn't come with a disclaimer or a Surgeon General Thurston's warning. Secondly, I make no allusions to making this chart at all. You'll never find me claiming I made it. If you made it, great work. Good work. Great work. It's informative. Third, in the body of your own fucking chart, there's a gigantic watermark of WrestleNomics in the background with source credit and your Patreon page. You credit yourself all over it. Nielsen reps haven't come at me yet, by the way. You want me to not post a literal screenshot? My answer is no, and thank you.
Damn, hold on. I didn't even have the lasers ready. Oh, man. So
Brandon, if you're listening, this could have all been worked out. I want to say this publicly as well. I got no problem with Brandon Thurston. I got no problem with WrestleNomics. But my man, my DMs are open. You could have simply been like, hey, man, could you please not share? But then I would have asked why I couldn't share it. And then we probably would have gotten to this kind of discussion privately without having this being aired publicly. Now, anybody who knows me knows that my DMs are open. I talk to anybody. I don't necessarily like to, but fuck it, I'll do it. But at the same time, Brandon, the invitation is out to you, my man. We could have worked this out, but you had to go and be an asshole and try to do this bullshit where you're like, and if you notice on the chart itself, there is no please do not republish this thing. He used to have it on there, but on this one he does not. I don't know why, but yeah, he got kind of roasted last time when he did this same a few weeks ago.
What happened? What did he do?
Brandon Thurston sent the same type of like chastisement to me. I completely ignored it. In fact, he did it twice before, and I completely ignored it because I was just like, is this guy trying to like get me to bite onto something? but I was just like, well, I'm not going to DM him. And for a little bit, for a couple weeks, I didn't really show the Dynamite ratings. In fact, I don't show the Collision ratings. I don't show the
I don't
Rampage.
ever see you even really post this like this. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I do when I can. If somebody
Yeah.
gives me the information, I will post it. But if
Yeah.
I don't get the information, I'm not going to look for it. That's fucking crazy. I mean, no, I don't. Somebody usually asking, like when I do my ratings video, they're like, "Hey, what are the quarterly hours?" And then like, okay, I'm not going to search for them. But if somebody hands that shit to me through a DM or tells me like, "Hey, here it is," hey man, I'm going to share it. It's got nothing to do with me, and I don't say it. I don't say anything disparaging. Check all my tweets. I say nothing disparaging about WrestleNomics or Brandon Thurston. I will say it here right now, though, dude. You're a butthead, to put it politely, for doing it this way. But this is what has to be done. You made me respond.
Yeah, and like Brandon, are you gonna come at me for showing this on the podcast? You know,
Yeah.
like what, like where do we draw the line? I've used them in my thumbnails. I didn't even know this was like a subscriber thing. I just see them everywhere. So
Check me out next week because I'm going to be doing it now. See, now I'm going to be searching for it.
Yeah. Well, it's just like, man, you gotta like know that like it's the fucking internet, bro. People, unless you could put a watermark, he should. Like, isn't there a big logo behind it? Yeah, isn't that
you
their
can
logo?
see it? It's plain as fucking day. Right underneath quarter hour breakdown, it also gives the source Nielsen, who haven't come at me like, "Hey, motherfucker."
Yeah, and make this graph put in big bold letters, like your
right
at handle or whatever. Like, you got to be wary of that.
They said, "Oh yeah. You can't." I thought you can't copyright data. You can't. You cannot copyright data. But what Brandon Thurston is trying to do is he's trying to monetize off of the data, because you have to pay a certain subscription amount to Nielsen to get that sort of data early. Okay, that's cool. But you're
Very
charging
Meltzer.
your subscribers. Yeah, very Meltzer. You're charging subscribers for the work that you did. But if that's the only thing you've got going on, I don't see how your Patreon's going to last too long. What else are you offering?
You're shooting hard, dude.
Well, I'm just being real. I'm asking questions. Hopefully, I'll get some answers. But goddamn, I mean, I'm just sharing a screenshot. I'm not going to share the disclaimer. Thanks for bringing it up, though, Brandon, for showing me. But it doesn't mean a goddamn thing to me. I'm not a subscriber. The people who follow me and who I follow, they send me this information. I send it to the public. I don't want to get charged for it. I'm not trying to charge anybody for it. I only have one monetization point, and that's at the very end of AEW's existence, when I'm trying to sell a book. Other than that, my shit's free.
Man, I better get speaking of free, I better get a free copy of that goddamn book, Awful, and I'll review it on the show. What are you
so you believe
about?
AEW is going to go away? Good, thank you.
Yeah,
awesome. And that's how you do it, folks.
Hey, now hold
that's
on
called debate. Yeah. But yeah, that's. But that's how it goes. But yeah, you'll get a free copy. Hairline, you'll get one too.
Absolutely, man.
And here's the other thing. It will not be. Listen to this, Brandon. It will not be in one of those. I won't be in one of those positions where somebody will be able to steal my book and sell it all for free. You know what I mean? Like it won't be an audio book right off the bat. It's going to be actual paper and print, so that you have to buy it in order to read it.
Man, Awful. I love you, buddy.
I like you guys too.
You give me such great gold content, man. I appreciate it. So Neckbeards pipes in and he posts the picture as well, and he goes, "Shout out Neckbeards, man. I fucking love this guy. Don't share images that I share publicly on my Twitter feed." Okay, I won't. Gotta give him a heart for that shit, man. I love it. Gotta give you a heart too. I love that. Let's break them down now. Let's look at the ratings and let's actually break down what they were here. So we have 931K. We start there. That's Big Bang. I guess Big Bang's hot again, right? What kicked off the show? Mercedes Moné live promo angle with Sky Blue. Double or Nothing recap. Kill Switch versus Swerve in the Godzilla. Like, did you see how they did the House of the Dragon match? Oh yeah, Luchasaurus wears a dragon mask. Let's have him. He's dressed like a dragon. He can go. It'll be great. I don't know. So we reacted to this live. We watched this Dynamite together, awful. But basically what happened was a bunch of people tuned in. What made them tune out? Were they all tuning out? Did any of them stick around to watch Mercedes Moné? Like, what did you tweet out? 250K people said this. So we saw a bit of a spike for, is that Jericho or Samoa Joe? Like, who can, they stuff so much into each thing. It's like, what is the difference maker? Like, what made people tune out of Romero versus Moxley and then Orange Cassidy live angle? So I guess people are tuning out for that. Then they get an increase. Like, why were the ratings fluctuating like this? Do you have any idea?
Me personally, I think it's because of the offerings that they were given. Mercedes Moné, a live promo. I mean, nobody wants to see that.
So like 200,000 people almost tuned out. Like, by the time it was that first commercial break with Kill Switch and Strickland continued, and Moxley being backstage, being real cool with my shades, shooby-doo, wah. Like 200 people dipped out. So, like, whose fault is that? Mercedes?
Right. I believe it's Tony Khan's for bad placement of things on the show. Just looking at the lineup he's got here, I don't know what you would put first, really. Whatever your biggest angle is. If that's the Elite and Christopher Daniels or that whole thing, you put them.
I don't mean to laugh, but like, come on, man.
I mean, you put that in segment 1. If that's your biggest thing, you bookend the show with that. You put Mercedes Moné in the very first segment, hoping that she was going to retain some sort of audience, and it did absolutely nothing for you. Then you put Kill Switch versus Swerve, in that first segment as well. Nah, that's no good. You didn't build Swerve up to be anything.
It's just how they have Swerve just wrestling random matches. Hairline,
he did not say the word. He didn't say the words.
Hairline, you though, like, who do you blame this on? Like, just people tuning out of Big Bang, or are you like, nah, man, we see, because to me, man, Mercedes ain't it. I'm sorry. In AEW, it just ain't it. She needs that WWE machine to make her look like that big giant star. And we're going to get into it, actually. We'll transition. Apparently, she is difficult to work with in WWE. People are saying, I don't want to shit all over her or nothing like that. But I mean, it just feels like a cheap, phony version of what she was doing in WWE. Your thoughts, Hairline, on like Moné, and just look at that drop off. Pretty bad, man.
So her match with Willow was like one of the worst matches I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, we're going to get into, that's a big part of this show, what Dave Meltzer had to say. We'll get into that right after this, about what Meltzer had to say. We'll give you Meltzer's moment of the week early here tonight, folks. Didn't mean to cut you off, but you think it was that bad of a match? I actually put that match over. I thought it was a solid match, but
no, let's hear absolutely your not. Okay. Absolutely not. And then, so like Sasha here, like, okay, so she's being fed shit by an ex-WWE writer. You know what I'm saying? By ex-WWE guys, that means that person was fired because they weren't worth paying. So, like, obviously, none of this is positive.
Like Jen Pepperman, like the writer. Yeah.
Sasha's not it. You know what I'm saying? She can't do this on her own. I know it's really cringe, and like, here's the biggest thing I said about like the whole Willow thing as well. Like, AEW never like gets shit over with me, and then when they do shit like this. Like, Willow is like their original talent. You know what I'm saying? Not completely, but like, you know what I'm saying. Like, she's not from WWE, and then they go and then just have her job to fucking Sasha, dog. And it was like, you guys were finally doing something right, and then you just go and do this, and it's just like, it's all counterproductive.
She should have lost that match.
Yeah, more people seem interested in her and Statlander. Mercedes Moné, according to Ringside News, was difficult to work with in WWE. Now, Ringside News, their drama and their whatever their nonsense aside, I'll just read you their article while the picture's pulled up here for you guys. But basically, Mercedes Moné, formerly known as Sasha Banks, during her time in WWE, established herself as a prominent figure in the wrestling world, etc., etc. Some allege that she was difficult to work with in WWE. She notably walked out in May 22 alongside Naomi. During a recent episode of the Behind the Turnbuckle podcast, former WWE employee Tommy Carlucci and ex-interim Raw general manager Jonathan Coachman addressed the CEO's backstage reputation in the Stamford-based promotion. Carlucci disclosed that he never thought Moné was as great as others believed, claiming she was, quote, difficult to work with. So Tommy Carlucci says, quote, his name's Tommy Carlucci. So that's like one of these guys, Tommy Carlucci, you know, right here. I don't think Mercedes Moné is great at all. So I never thought she was with this whole bag of chips that everybody thought she was here in WWE as Sasha Banks. And she was difficult to work with too. So, damn, he said, okay, he goes on to say, there are certain superstars that over the years act a certain way backstage, and they get a certain reputation, and they can't get rid of that. And Sasha had that. So when you heard some of those numbers that she was asking for, you know, WWE or AEW, I was blown away that either side was even entertaining a deal the magnitude of what she reportedly got. Because I agree with you. She's never been the star that Becky Lynch is, or that Charlotte Flair is, or that Rhea Ripley is. Gabagool. Dude, he went hard as fuck on her there, dude. Damn, I don't know. What do we give him? A round of applause for that, or some air horns? Your guys' thoughts on that? I've always said she is we'll start with hairline on this one, because I know you're all about the horsewomen. Here's the thing, bruv. To me, she's always been my let me think in my noodle here for a sec. She's always been like my number 4 out of the 4 horsewomen personally, but not that like matters. Like, she's still a great, tremendous in-ring worker, and obviously that WWE filter helped her a lot. You know what I mean? Like, that missing oomph that she's missing here in AEW. Your thoughts, hairline, on his comments on Sasha?
Yeah, man, she just doesn't have it anymore. You know, like,
she's difficult to work with.
Right, yeah, man, and like, she's just like not worth the money is what I'm hearing here, and like, whatever, just go do Star Wars then, because like it's just like, it's such bullshit for Willow, man. Not to go back to that, but it's just like,
you're mad about Willow.
Yeah, Doug, they dropped the ball. She was so over.
Awful. What about you, man? Your thoughts on their thoughts on Mercedes?
Mercedes, real quickly, is one of those types where she's going to force the average professional wrestling fan to look back at her matches in WWE and compare them to AEW, and then they're going to look back at the WWE matches. They're going to be like, "Damn, Sasha Banks's opponents were great." Because hey, let's look at NXT Takeover for a second. The Bayley, her finest hour, the best match she's ever had, and the best women's match I think I've ever seen, and Bayley and Sasha Banks. Bayley carried that story. Bayley carried that entire match. Look very closely. I'm not lying to you. It's a great match, but you'll see in subsequent matches, Sasha gets exposed. There are things that she forgets. Right. There are things that she can't really do. And then at the same time, there are other ladies who are looking waif-like, better looking, and probably more seasoned as athletes that were coming into the fold as well. So her value was starting to come down and come down and go down and go down. And she knew it, and she thought she was going to get a deal elsewhere. That's why I don't feel sorry for her. She's got no hunger anymore. This is where the best wrestle. No, this is where they come to, get on the money train and not bring anybody into the arenas.
She says that AEW really is competition to the WWE. And hairline, look who's speaking to her on TMZ Sports. This is Mojo Rawley. He's the TMZ Sports guy. Did you know that?
No, good for him.
Yeah, good for him, man.
AEW is just legit changing the game in wrestling. It's the first competition for WWE in a very, very long time. And as you see, AEW is where the best wrestler. You have me, the greatest of all time, the TBS Women's Champion. You have Will Ospreay. You have Kenny Omega. You have Swerve Strickland. You have Willow Nightingale, and I can just go on and on and on. But you have such amazing, incredible talent. And if there wasn't an AEW, where would these people be? Where would I be? So we're so thankful for AEW. AEW.
She just seems like a celebrity who puts on an act like in front of the camera, which is nothing new, but it's just weird to. Am I wrong on that, guys? I don't mean you guys know that I never was on her. I was like, no, like I was super optimistic if you go back with her coming in AEW, but goddamn hairline, like she seems real, like just an actress who like it's like like just someone who just puts it on when the cameras are on, and then when they're off, she's like, "Fuck out of here." You know what I mean? I'm not mad at that. I'm not hating on that. You know what I mean?
Right. Get your bag.
Get your bag. Absolutely, yeah. But yeah, hairline. Your thoughts on like AEW being true competition to WWE? Is that cap or what?
Absolutely not. Yeah, it's not in any way. Like, look, okay, so like they're at like what 6,000 in the key demo now, and they originally like were around 8,000 for how long? So it's just like it's drastically dying.